Welcome back. All right, we've got 11 games. 11 on Saturday. As long as we don't have any more postponements. I don't think we're going to. I think we should be good. So, we've got some pretty big matchups. We've got 4 matinee games and 7 evening games, and I love that. I love that because that makes my night a lot more spread out. It's easier for me to know exactly what's going on and as many games as possible. And so, yeah, Saturday looks like a pretty good day. I'm just wondering where I'm going to fit the treadmill into any of this, but I'll figure it out. At 1 o'clock Eastern, there's 2 games starting, so 10 a.m. Pacific. And if you're in Europe, you're going to have a couple of not too bad games to watch if you don't mind watching Buffalo. And maybe Buffalo wins tomorrow, right? So Boston's won the only meeting so far with Buffalo, and then, of course, the shutdown happened. But Buffalo's 6-22-4, which sounds bad because it is. Boston is 16-8-5, and of course, if you're a fan of the Rangers, you're cheering for Buffalo in this one. On the Buffalo side, Skinner, 3 goals and 1 assist. I wanted to isolate on certain players in this. Skinner is getting opportunities. Now, early in the season, they were just opportunities, and I didn't think there was a lot that was special there. But in recent weeks, it's getting better, and it feels like he's about to go on. I'm not going to say like a major run, but at least a few goals here and there. It won't justify his contract, but he's playing better. And Colin Miller, 3 goals, 3 assists. It's been a rough couple of weeks for him. Really rough. So we'll see whether or not he can turn things around a little bit tomorrow. On the Boston side, Pasternak. He is the biggest goal-scoring threat, of course, for Bruins. 14 goals, 12 assists for him. And Charlie McAvoy on the blue line, he's really come into his own this year. 3 goals, 16 assists. He's now producing. He's worked. His game is, as flawless as it's going to get for now. Can't wait till they call him the perfection defenseman because Boston reasons. But he's played really well. Also at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, we get the New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers, and this should be a fun game for people watching in Europe. Even if it does end up being lopsided, either way, it should be a lot of fun. The Rangers have won 3 out of 5. So the Flyers have beaten the Rangers twice this year. Both teams are 15-13-4, and both of them are going to be fans of the Sabres tomorrow. Really, really hoping the Sabres pull out of this rut, and Granato's back behind the bench for Buffalo tomorrow, so maybe, right? On the Rangers side, Zibanejad, 10 goals, 16 assists, 26 points. I think all of those points have been scored against Philadelphia over the last couple. It feels like it. And Fox, 3 goals, 23 assists. 5 assists will do a lot for you. 26 points overall right now. On the Philadelphia side, they need Hayes going a little more consistently. 10 goals, 13 assists for him. And Gustafsson on the blue line, 1 goal, 9 assists. That blue line in general has just been kind of in disarray. And if there's something that I think the Flyers are going to look at shoring up, I think it's going to be the blue line. I really do. Maybe this is where they miss Matt Niskanen. Might very well be where they miss him. All right, so those are the 2 early games, and then we get into 2 other games that are still technically matinees. 12 o'clock, my time, so noon Pacific, and 3 o'clock Eastern, we get the Columbus Blue Jackets at 13-13-8 in against the 10-20-4 Detroit Red Wings. So again, for Columbus, they've won 2 out of 3 against Detroit. You need to, rattle off these wins against Detroit when you get the opportunity because you're chasing teams ahead of you. Patrick Laine had an assist in their last game. He now has 9 goals, 8 assists. He is a very hot and cold player. Maybe things will heat up for him. Seth Jones, after a rough start to the season, got a lot better. He's at 4 goals, 15 assists now on the blue line for Columbus. On Detroit, Larkin, 6 goals, 10 assists. They're probably looking for more there. And Mark Stahl, who, seeing Eric get traded today, is probably thinking, they've also got Sherrod out, so could I end up in Montreal? It's possible. Maybe Mark Stahl ends up in Montreal. Again, I know there's cap problems, but it'd be interesting to see them both get traded to the same team, wouldn't it? All right. Then also at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, and this is the one that, again, for European fans, you're welcome. It's Vegas, it's Colorado, a game to decide which one's the best team in the West. Colorado won the last one. They're now up 3-2 in the series between these teams. So for Vegas, they're 22-8-1. For the Avalanche, they're 21-8-3. I almost said Nordiques because I'm kind of hoping for the Nordiques jerseys again tomorrow. Pacioretty, 17 goals, 14 assists, has had one of his best seasons, period, so far. And so that's remarkable for Vegas, and it slides under the radar because everybody's always talking about Stone, right? And then on the blue line, I want to talk a little bit about Nick Hague, only because with 3 goals, 9 assists, again, everybody talks about Theodore. You might talk about Martinez, Pietrangelo, who's currently on the shelf. Hague's making a pretty good case for himself as one of the better defensemen on that unit. And then, of course, on the Colorado side, Rantanen, 19 goals, 20 assists, has been fantastic. And Cale Makar, since his return from injury, 3 goals, 16 assists, showing why he was Rookie of the Year last year. Then we go to 4 hours later. So there'll be a video for these 2 games. They'll be on a board of their own. There'll be a video for these 2 games. They'll be on a board of their own as well. And there's 3 games starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. So I might be able to get some more in during the game, and there's nothing starting on a half an hour during any of this either, so I'm very happy about that. So the first game starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern is Tampa Bay and Carolina. Again, this is a first-place matchup. This is some very good scheduling. And for Tampa Bay, they're 24-7-2. They're coming off of a regulation loss against Dallas. That hurt because basically Carolina's not doing that. They're at 22-7-3, and if they win this game tomorrow, they may very well end up at a very decent spot on the power rankings. Tampa Bay has won 3 out of 5. The first 2 games went to Carolina, the next 3 to Tampa. We'll see if Carolina can get that momentum back. Yanni Gourde, red hot, 13 goals, 10 assists now for Yanni. And Cal Foote is starting to make a decent accounting for himself as well. 1 goal, 1 assist. Much like Adam Foote, you're not going to get a lot of offense here, but he does a lot of things out there that make a difference. And I think he's getting better as the season goes along. Niederreiter, 14 goals, 7 assists. Remarkable goals for Nino this year. And Pesce, 3 goals, 13 assists. Still, that just seems like a lot of points for Pesce, although I think his scoring has really fallen off. But still, 16 points. Bravo, Pesce. Then also 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, we get the Oilers in Toronto. So we may find out who the best are in the West, the best are here in the Central, and the best in the North. I'm just waiting while Jets fans say you mean it next to us. Sure, yeah, okay. So the Oilers 21-13, Toronto 21-10-2. Toronto's won 5 out of 7. And of course the last 3, they spanked the Oilers. So they're going to want to do that again. We'll see if the Oilers are willing to allow that. 18 goals, 32 assists for Draisaitl, 50 points. Darnell Nurse, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points. Between Nurse and Barry, really honestly, that blue line, underrated. Matthews, 21 goals, 16 assists. I keep seeing people saying, well, he's fighting it because of the injury. He's also hit some posts. So it's also been some bad luck for Matthews recently. And Hall, 2 goals, 9 assists for Hall. He did have a goal in the last game. We'll see if he can get things going offensively from here. And then also at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, this is a good matchup too. The Islanders and the Penguins. The Islanders 22-8-4. Pittsburgh 21-11-2. Rattling off wins against teams that they need to has put them in a position where now they can threaten both the Islanders and the Capitals for first place in the division. They'll be looking for a win in regulation. Pittsburgh's won 4 out of 6 so far with the Islanders, so they've shown they can beat them. Pajot, 11 goals, 12 assists, has been very good for the Islanders lately. And Hickey. Thomas Hickey is a good story. 3 games for the Islanders and 2 assists. That's how you jump in when there's an injury. That's how you just jump in and show, hey, you guys should probably give me more of a shot than nothing. On the Pittsburgh side, Jake Gensel, 14 goals, 18 assists for him. He is a goal scorer, and at some point there'll be 40 goals there again for him over a full 82 games. And John Marino, 2 goals and 3 assists don't tell you just how useful Marino is, how many minutes he plays, and how good he is for Pittsburgh. And eventually the offense will get back to, I would say, 25, 30 points a year range, because he's very good with the puck. Just this year, the points haven't been there. Then an hour later at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, we get Nashville and Chicago. That should be a very good game too, because Nashville's at 16-17-1. If they can beat Chicago, and again, it's that in regulation, Chicago right now 16, 13, and 5. And other than, their two most recent wins against Florida, things have been kind of falling off. Now, is this a sign they're on their way back up? Nashville's a good test. Nashville's won both games against Chicago, so they have 6 left. Nashville, if they can basically beat Chicago in the games they have left against them, even if they win, say, 5 out of those 6, they got an excellent chance of making it. Tolvanen, 8 goals, 6 assists for him. He's been very good for the last month at least. And Ekholm, 5 goals, 9 assists. I know there's a lot of rumors he's going to get traded. If they keep winning, I don't think he's going anywhere. Because again, if they win tomorrow, they go to 500. And if they do it in regulation, they're really making it difficult for Chicago. Patrick Kane's making it look easy, though. 13 goals, 33 assists for 46 points. He's been fantastic. And Boquist, 2 goals and 11 assists on the blue line. Very young blue line in Chicago. And it's noteworthy that this young blue line has got it kind of figured out. From game to game, there's varying results of that. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. But in general, it's a pretty good show being put on by a lot of rookies in Chicago. Also at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, if Dallas is going to prove people right that think this team can go on a run, they have to do it at the expense of the Florida Panthers. Florida's beaten them 2 out of 3 games so far this year. Florida's 29-4. Coming off of those losses to Chicago, they should be an ornery bunch. Dallas 11-11-8, coming off of that win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. And they didn't lose in regulation in either of those games against Tampa. Now they need to build on that. On the Florida side, Anthony Duclair, 3 goals, 9 assists. He's had a ton of opportunities. They will start going in. Ekblad, 10 goals, 10 assists for him. Very good season for him on the blue line. On the Dallas side, Pavelski's woken up again. 15 goals, 17 assists for 32 points. He may very well get hot. The line with him and with Rope Hintz could be fantastic. Heiskanen, who had a breakaway goal in the last game, has 4 goals, 12 assists. He seems to be picking it up as well. Dallas is a lot less boring to watch than they were, say, 2 years ago. It's kind of fun. It's sort of like Minnesota, but with Minnesota, a lot of it's Kaprizov, and in Dallas's case, there's a few players you could pin that on. Hintz being one of them, Heiskanen being another, and yeah, they're the, and Robertson, of course, is gaining a lot of attention right now. I not going to put any pressure on him. I think the interesting thing with Robertson is while everybody's focusing on his points, he's also pretty good away from the puck in what I've seen so far. And then 2 hours later at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. So again, nice break in these games. Winnipeg will play against Calgary again. Winnipeg's now 21-11-2. Calgary's 15-17-3. See, look at that. I take 10 losses off for Calgary. I must feel bad for the Flames. So they're 15-17-3. Winnipeg's won 4 out of 6 now in this meeting. Calgary has to focus on the things they did right tonight and try to fix the mistakes they made in this game as well. Andrew Kopp, 10 goals, 15 assists for him. He had 4 goals against Vancouver. Does he have a goal in him for tomorrow night against Calgary? I wouldn't rule against it. DeMello, 4 assists on the blue line. DeMello stood out to me tonight for a lot of good defensive plays he made, which again gets overlooked. On the Calgary side, Matthew Tkachuk, 8 goals, 17 assists. He was all around the net, and every time there was a scrum, he seemed to be in the middle of it because his name's Tkachuk. But he needs to start getting more goals. Every Flame needs to start getting more goals, really. Rasmus Andersson on the blue line, 3 goals, 13 assists. It's been a rough up and down season for Andersson. And yeah, there's some stuff there to be worked on if you're the Flames. So we'll see if they can bounce back tomorrow and get their revenge on Winnipeg, who won their first game in almost 7 years in regulation in Calgary. And then San Jose and Arizona. Now it's Saturday, right? So Arizona should be wearing their Space Coyote. If they can win wearing that Space Coyote jersey, I can wear the Space Coyote jersey for the review for that game. So there. And yeah, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. San Jose now 13-15-4. For the Coyotes, they're 15-14-5. And as I pointed out in the review for tonight, they are not that far behind St. Louis now. It is actually something that they can look at and say, hey, we have this, we can control this from here. On the San Jose side, Donato, who always seems to have at least one good chance every game. He only has 5 goals on the year. He's due. 5 goals, 10 assists for him. And Burns, 5 goals, 13 assists. He's still a guy who plays all the minutes. He plays a ton. And I don't know that he necessarily gets the respect at this point that he should for how well he plays. Because, again, when the offense isn't there. But anyways, it's a whole San Jose defense thing, right? On the Arizona side, Kessel coming off of his 1100th game and his 11th goal of the season to go with 12 assists, 23 points. Keep an eye on him because he's a hot and cold player. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who seems to be playing very well right now. A goal and 14 assists for him on the season. And we'll see if he gets another one. Maybe he gets a goal. Maybe, right? All right, let me know your winners for this. Let me know who you're picking in these 11 games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And this is, of course, my Marty Jelena jersey, because when Cool Hockey had that sale, huge sale last summer, I had to get a Jelena. I thought, yeah, Jelena was one of my favorite. So even though he never wore this actual jersey, I was like, it's fine. I do not consider that a jersey foul. I understand why people do, and I used to. I don't anymore. It's all fine. All right. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe because it's really close to 184,000 subscribers. And then the bet phone might have to be brought out when I hit 184,000 because it's one of those random numbers. All right. Thanks again. I will talk to you guys in the morning.